Okay, so this video is going to explain the difference between a cheap dollar store charger for your cell phone or iPad and a more expensive charger USB for your iPhone, cell phone, iPad, other USB device, and why one is cheap and worthless, and why one is a little bit more costly and is worth it. So let's get started. This device here is a load tester, and it'll put loads on these chargers simulating a phone or an iPad being charged or some kind of USB device that is drawing power from these devices. Now, the standard USB specification, like for a computer or whatever, says that the USB port will put out half an amp at 5 volts. And the current, which is the amperage, the more current you have, the more current your device can provide, the quicker your device that's drawing the current from this will charge. So if you have an iPad, it requires a lot of current. It has a larger battery, say, than an iPhone, and so you want a charger that can put out more current than the 0.5 that a computer can supply. So that's why you buy these chargers, because they're supposed to supply more current than the USB port of your computer. And that's why when you buy the special Apple chargers, they seem to charge your Apple devices quicker than the cheap stuff that you buy at the dollar store or whatever. So let's compare the two. So here's one that you would get, say, from a dollar store or from a Five and Below or something. And as you can see, it's nice and compact compared to this one. And if you look on here, it says 2.1 amp for iPad, and it says 1 amp for others. So this supposedly can put out 2.1 amps, which is quite a bit of current. It's about 4 times what a computer can put out. So it can put out 4 times that for iPads, and then it can put out about double what a computer can for like other devices that, you know, maybe an Android phone or something that's not supposed to draw too much current. This one, which doesn't have anything written on the ports, but if you read here, it says it puts out 5 volts at 2 amps. So this one said 2.1 amp max, this one said 2 amps. So you would think this one might be a little better because it's 2.1 instead of this one, which is 2. This one was relatively cheap, probably a couple of bucks. This one was about $15. So, you know, what's the difference here? Why would I want to spend that kind of money on this one? So, this load test, we have a USB port on here. So, we're going to plug in the cheap one, and we're going to plug it right into the 2.1 amps. And then this is just a power outlet, a wall outlet, so I'm just having it here close for testing. So we'll go ahead and put it in here. And then I'm going to go ahead and start the test. Oop. Okay, sorry. Had it set up for a different test. Okay. So I'm going to turn the current. This is the amperage that we're going to test drawing. I'm going to turn it down to 0.2, all the way to the very bottom. And what this says, 2.8 volts. This says that when the voltage drops below 2.8, which means the charger's failed or not working properly, then we should get an alarm. So we're going to go ahead and start the test. So right now you can see that that charger is putting out 5.2 volts. Anything above 5, you know, anything about 4.5 and above is good. It's putting out the 5.2 volts, which is the voltage you need, and at 0.2 amps. Remember, it said it was rated at 2.1 amps. So let's go ahead and crank up this current on here and see how much current it can really supply. So there's 0.3, 0.4, so there's 0.5, so that's half an amp. That's what a computer can put out. Here's 0.6, 0.7. Whoa, look at that. When we went to 0.7 amps, the voltage dropped to 3.8. That's pretty low. That's probably not going to do very good. Your electronic device you're trying to charge might not like that. So let's go to 0.8. Now you remember, this was rated at 2.1, and we're not even to 1 yet, and it's already started to fail. So let's go to 0.8 now. Oh, it just totally died at 0.8. So that means that this supply right here, this dollar store supply, can only put out 0.8 amps. If I turn it back to 0.7, you can see it comes up. So this one's total garbage. So, doesn't put out what it said it should. Surprise. This one, let's try it. Again, it's a more expensive one. So we'll plug it in here. Then we will turn this down to 0.2, and then we will turn it on. So again, it's showing 5 volts and 0.2 amps. Remember, this supply was only rated at 2 amps. So let's go ahead and check it here. 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. Now 0.7 was the maximum that the other power supply could, or the other USB charger could supply. When we went to 0.8 it failed, so let's try 0.8. Okay, it made it to 0.8. 0.9. The voltage dropped a little bit, but it's still, you know, above 4.5 volts, so your device would still be fine with this. Now we're at 1 amp. So we've already exceeded what the first USB charger could supply by quite a bit. Let's keep going. 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. Voltage has dipped a little bit, but not like the other one. We're still, you know, way above 4 volts. 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, 2 amps of current, and we're still above 4.5 volts. Remember, this one was rated at 2 amps, so let's see if it'll exceed what it's rated at. 2.1, 2.2, we're still above 4.5 volts. 2.3, still above 4.5 volts. 2.4, 2.5, oh, it failed at 2.5. So at 2.4 it still works. So this one, which was rated at 2 amps, can actually supply 2.4 amps. So this is a very good power supply. So, if you were wanting to charge your iPhone or iPad or phone relatively quickly, you would definitely want this one, which costs a little bit more than you would this one. This one would barely charge it faster than a computer. So you'd probably be better off putting it in a computer instead of this, because this is probably not even a well-designed power supply at all, interior, inside, and it could be hazardous to your device you're trying to charge. This one, on the other hand, would put out plenty of current and would be a good choice for charging your device as fast as you could. And so that is the explanation of why cheap chargers sometimes, most of the time, are terrible, and why you should probably buy a higher quality charger and spend a little extra money for that.